In Korean culture, it's a good thing that people should look up if you don't know that. But you know, you're 28, you think, in December, and suddenly you're 30.
Exactly, and I exactly remember what it was like being at the scene of the pavilion, the Bosingak Pavilion, because 2 years ago I remember was there exactly doing what Hijun is doing now, with besides those hundreds and thousands of people all gathered and jumbled up in that crossroads, everyone waiting for that bell ringing ceremony to begin, and we're just a little less than 5 minutes away from that bell ringing ceremony to begin, and boy, what an excitement.
Yeah, really, and to accommodate all those people there at the intersection there near Jonggak Station in downtown Seoul at the Bosingak Pavilion, they've shut off all the roads there so traffic can't get through. Everybody can have a space to stand. And by the way, if you're going out tonight in Seoul for some partying or if you're there at Bosingak, the subway will be running until 2 a.m. So you don't really have to worry about getting a ride home, though it might be a little bit crowded.
And the Seoul Metropolitan city says that some 100,000 people will have gathered at the Bosingak Pavilion, all waiting for that bell ringing ceremony, something that we see every year at this time around.
Yeah, always exciting to watch. You said you've been down there to report. I haven't yet, but there's the mayor of Seoul, that's Park Won-sun. He'll be sort of the master of ceremonies, I guess, tonight, and among one of the several people who will be ringing that gigantic bell back there, you can see in the belfry behind the stage. 33 times they're going to ring it.
Right, 33 times, and the reason that the number is because that reason dates all the way back to the Joseon Dynasty, and as Bosingak Belfry was used to ring that many times at 4 a.m., signaling the start of the day for the people in the city. So 33 times, that tradition keeps on.
Back when they used to open the city gates, which many of which are preserved as historical sites in Seoul. And the bell itself dates to the 15th century, and it's been in that spot right there since the early 17th century.
We are a little less than 3 minutes away from that ceremony, and the bell tolling ceremony will begin with 10-second countdown to midnight to officially mark the beginning of the new year.
So many things we covered here in Arirang this year, and it's hard to believe that the year's gone by so fast. This time last year, we were getting ready for the Winter Olympics.
Right.
And that's really what started it all off, as we discussed earlier.
But especially this year alone, it was as if we had at least an event taking place every month. I mean, we had that Pyeongchang Winter Olympics taking place in February, but up until that point, we were all busy gearing up for that festivity. And after that, we had a series of inter-Korean summits between the leaders of the two Koreas, and also the big player, the U.S., also jumped in on that and made things a little bit more crazy.
Well, we'll have one story in the next day or two that'll occupy a lot of our time, and that'll be when the leader of North Korea gives his New Year's speech.
Because that indicates his plans for the new year and how he plans on leading his own country.
So big announcements came out of that last year. We don't know what to expect quite in the new year, but we can see them there at Bosingak, getting ready to ring that big bell with the giant hammer there.
We know that people ringing that bell ceremony with the mayor of Seoul is also the Lee Guk-jong, the surgeon known for his work, as well as the speed skater Lee Sang-hwa, who also took part in that Pyeongchang Winter Olympics.
Yeah, and as a surgeon, he was the man who saved the life of the North Korean soldier who fled across the border.
Risking his own life, right. And we are a little less than a minute away from ushering in the new year, the brand new year of Golden Pig, and that is the Seoul City Mayor Park Won-sun, along with some of the civilians beside him. And
everybody's got their LEDs out. They're getting ready. Phones are getting ready. They're all recording out there, I'm sure. Just a matter of about 30 seconds now. This countdown should start pretty soon. Let's listen in, if we can, to the action.
자, 이제 여러분들은 다 준비가 되신 것 같고요. 지금 시간이 얼마 남았습니까?
Should be about 20 seconds. 20 seconds to 2019, folks.
But I do this every year, but it does not feel that much different for myself. But with all the festivity taking place in the scene,
they're counting down.
울려 퍼지고 있습니다. 2019년에는 여기 모이신 모든 분들 그리고 국민 모두가
there it is, ringing in the new year of Golden Pig, the 2019 it is.
That's right, that's an auspicious sign there of the 12 zodiac signs, the pig, and it's a golden pig.
You see those countless number of crowds all zooming in on that bell ringing ceremony, braving that cold. It's a little less than -5 degrees Celsius outside Seoul now, but the cold and freezing temperature doesn't seem to bother them much when it comes to ringing in the new year.
No, certainly not when you get 100,000 people in the same space. You could probably keep warm out there. The mayor ringing the bell 33 times, as is tradition, every year. And several ceremonies going around the country tonight, not just in Seoul, several places, as we checked in with our reporters earlier. There's those at Imjingak, there's down in Busan, where they're having a big party, it looks like. And later on tomorrow, as the sun comes up, people can go to the east coast of Korea and see the sun come up.
Right, the first sun of the year, where a lot of the people wish for their, the wish for the year. Another making promises to themselves as to what they would do and when the new year arrives. And that's like a ceremony where a lot of the people do take place.
네, 제가 좀 설명을 드릴게요.
Have you been keeping count of how many bells they've rung?
I'm not sure. We must be close to 30.
자, 새벽에 치는 종을 하루라고 불렀고요. 새벽 4시경 33번을 타종해서 통금을 해제하고 도성의 문을 열어 하루를 시작했습니다. 이 하루는요.
Lots of New Year's traditions here in Korea, though, the bell ringing just one of them. There's a traditional food that we eat on New Year's, too. So
right, it's the rice cake soup.
Tteokguk.
Rice cake soup, signaling that you age another year.
As we discussed earlier.
Yes, if you have a bowl of that, that means you're a year older. So that comes along on the first day of the new year, and
especially, I think children probably like to get up and say, "Oh, now I'm not 6 anymore. I'm 7."
Quite a different move from a lot of the elders in the country, but that's the tradition that we go through and that we have.
That's right.
I mean, like I was saying, I was also at that scene 2 years ago when they were ringing that bell 33 times. And it's just amazing to see how people are just all so patiently waiting for that bell ringing ceremony to end. Because normally you would think, I mean, who would, stick around until the 33 bells are rung at the New Year's Eve? But they stick around and go through a lot of they view the ceremonies and festivities taking place at the scene and the Bosingak Pavilion.
That's 33 times they've rung it. So there we are. Welcome to 2019.
2019 it
Happy
is.
New Year,
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Devin. I think you've missed some counts. They're still ringing.
They're still ringing.
They're still ringing.
That's right. There's 15 people who've got to ring it, right?
Right.
So.
They take routines. They take turns, so they may pause in between.
Yeah.
I mean, in moments' time, we're going to connect back to our reporters scattered across the country for their take in ringing in the New Year's and with all their own festivals taking place in different regions. And we also have some of the reports looking back at the year of 2018, although we have mentioned a few with our reporters in studio earlier.
Yeah, looking back and looking ahead, it's been a big year this year, but it could be another big one in the year to come.
Now I think we can see in the corner of the live
They're
footage
counting,
that
aren't
it's
they?
counting.
Yeah.
It's they've just rung it 23 times.
Yeah. It's you know, you don't see a lot of the screaming, and you know, it's not like Times Square in New York. Right, the vibe's a little different.
They don't have the
isn't it?
confettis here in Seoul,
Right.
but it's just the solemn ringing of that bell that goes on for a couple minutes now. There, the person in black coat facing his back towards the screen is Lee Guk-jung surgeon that we talked about, who treated a North Korean soldier who defected, risking his own life.
That was an amazing scene. It really was when we saw him run across the border last winter. And South Korean soldiers ran to help him and drag him across, and there's the man who treated his wounds, because he was shot several times.
But the image that we have of that inter-Korean border is starkly different now since then, because now we even have our own reporter, Kan Hyung-woo, standing 7 kilometers away from that
Right.
demilitarized zone, the DMZ line, signaling a start of another peace for the two Koreas.
Yeah, I mean, Arirang reporters interviewed North Korean athletes. We've got lots of footage from the Olympics earlier this year, getting quite close to the border there as well, near for the inter-Korean projects too.
So looking back this past 12 months, I think a lot has happened. I mean, I can't no longer say that it's past 12 months, but looking back at the year of 2018, I think a lot has happened, changing the mood of the inter-Korean relations 180% to a point where we're looking to build relationships together in a peaceful mode.
That's right. So many things to look forward to. As we mentioned earlier, the recovery of remains in the DMZ from the Korean War who have not been laid to rest in the 65 years since the war ended. We've got that. We've got transport projects between South and North underway this year. And so many things to look forward to, really. And probably the summit between President Trump and Chairman Kim.
Right.
That's the bell ringing is just about over.
That is the 33rd bell ringing, the last bell ringing ceremony for the New Year's of 2019.